rise and see the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Human race that we run has left me crawling, staring straight at the sun. Only a moment of notice. Every dog has his day. I paid attention. Cost me so much to hate. For so long I saw only wrong. But now to remind, it's a waste of time. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Human race that we run has left me crawling, staring straight at the sun. In only a moment of notice, every dog has his day. I paid attention. Cost me so much to hate. For so long I saw only wrong. But now to remind, it's a waste of time. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. Close your eyes and see the sky is falling. Son, welcome to another episode of The Apocalypse. So good to see you all again. And since you have unwisely chosen the apocalypse, and congratulations, by the way, you are in urgent need of a guide. Unfortunately for me, I am your very tired and ill guide. But I am here nonetheless, for I work for the man, not the man you work for. Quite a different man. And it appears, looky here, Google once again getting labeled a monopolistic criminal. Dost thou rememberest when they attempted to label me a criminal? They tried their best. They called the FBI. They called me a scammer in front of the entire world. Defamed me. Then, guess what happened? A year or two later, Google was adjudicated a criminal in a court of law for monopolistic behavior. It appears, once again, this came out today, bloody breaking. Google is a monopolist in online advertising tech, judge says. Son, it appears that whilst my record remains spotless in the eyes of the authorities, it appears Google's does not. It appears they are a criminal organization. Quite the bloody irony, isn't it? I think so. Let's move on. Nearly $1 billion in DOGE savings disappeared overnight. And that word savings is in quotes. Because they ain't saving us jack shit. Leon just got another contract, which I'll get to. I'm sure it's probably $1 trillion it's going to be. It's going to be ridiculous. To build a golden shower. I mean, a golden dome. Excuse me. That's Donnie's thing, golden showers. Not Leon's. Leon's is grifting contracts. That's in quotes, contracts. Pocket money. You know what I'm saying. They got to call it something, right? They can't just call it straight up thievery, right? Of course they do. Welfare for billionaires. You know, the welfare for the richest man in the world. What would the richest man in the world be without the welfare? He'd be nobody. That's who he'd be. So what he should be doing is going to every American taxpayer's house and allowing their whole family to bend over. And Leon can kiss their ass in gratitude for making you rich, son. Your companies would be nothing without welfare from the United States. How are your companies surviving now once you've bought an office in the White House? Oh, well, they're surviving on government welfare again. Yeah, these people aren't good at business. What they're good at is being born rich. And that don't take no motherfucking talent at all, son. So yeah, DOGE. On Tuesday alone, DOGE removed around $962 million in previously claimed cuts and altered hundreds of others to boost individual items' purported savings values. That's savings in quotes. Despite promising weekly updates and sporadically touting new contract cancellations on social media, DOGE did not update a single line of its savings website from the end of March through Monday, according to a notice analysis. Then, just after midnight on Tuesday, DOGE added scores of new cancellations, quietly removed hundreds of others, and altered the claimed savings hundreds more. So when they're not giving backdoor access to our computer systems to Russia, this is also what they're doing. And what am I reading you here? What is this? Well, DOGE, since the beginning, since they first reported their numbers, they added hundreds of millions to alleged savings numbers they started off with. Like magically, numbers like 8 million would turn into 800 million. You know what I mean? Not lying a little bit. Lying worse than the devil himself. That's what these little sociopath Hitler Youth motherfuckers are there to do. Grift just like Leon and get as much for themselves as the Titanic called the U.S. goes the fuck down because of them, because of you, the rubes that voted for this. So once again, they were caught altering figures, removing figures, adding figures, all in the span of like an hour. I guess that's all the time Big Balls could fit in. Or whatever intern they're making lie his fucking face off by reporting these numbers on a DOGE website. Because they're probably all afraid they're going to go to prison for reporting abject fucking false numbers. So again, when they're not giving backdoor access, and we have proof now, to Russians, to our computer systems, they're fudging the numbers on the reports. I'm here to break it to you. You add up just Leon's contracts, maybe you throw in Altman's contract, and you add in the $8 million a week it costs to have these cunts dismantle and loot and give our information to the Russians, which I told you they were doing. They were stealing information. They were leaving back doors. They're traitors. I told you this before the evidence came. Yeah, when they're not giving shit to Russia straight up with, passwords and fucking access information completely. They're fudging the numbers and lying their fucking faces off. Again, this is an operation to dismantle and loot your country, son. That's all it is. I don't care how badly you want to debate somebody from your political perspective. Son, we way past politics. You don't realize that yet? You're gonna realize that. Death camps wasn't enough. Nazi salutes wasn't enough. You don't realize we're past politics and in a fucking Hitler territory? You best wake up, son. No matter what side you on. More pictures of the lovely Seacott prison. And we kind of have three different pictures here. You got the kind of empty space. Then we got this one. And we got this one. And, from these pictures, it doesn't look like anything nefarious is going on at that camp, right? Perfectly normal concentration camp in a foreign country, being paid for with American tax dollars. That's what we're paying for. You proud of yourself? You got to actually contribute and support, and maybe you're still supporting, an actual Nazi-style concentration camp. You should be proud of yourself. In a disturbing interview, Republican Congressman Tom Burchett says he supports a plan for American citizens to be deported to El Salvador prisons. They're criminals. They broke our laws. They need to suffer. This is absolutely insane. Well, what about Donnie Shitbags? He's a convicted felon. And that seems to be the only qualification for Mr. Burchett to send American citizens to the fucking death camp in El Salvador. So it sounds like Donnie should be on the plane, according to Mr. Burchett. He's a criminal. We know that. Adjudicated, proven. They broke our laws. Donnie broke our laws. They need to suffer. That's his criteria. Again, you have men openly on news channels, propaganda channels, talking about sending U.S. citizens, son, class, to El Salvador, to a death camp. Out in your motherfucking face, this thing, this demon destined for the lake, is saying this. He feels comfortable enough now. He feels free enough via his Antichrist Messiah. If this doesn't make your ears stand up, even if you're the staunchest rube, I don't know what will. Again, how many of you have records? Donnie has a record. He should be in prison right now for any one of a number of offenses. And again, not because I don't like him, because he's a fucking criminal. And it's proven. And again, Mr. Burchett's criteria. They're criminals. They broke our laws. That's Donnie. So he should be on a plane. Right, Rubes? If that's your criteria, your personal criteria. What about you? Do you have a conviction in your past, Rube? Again, anyone could be arrested any day of the week. There's a lot of people that are arrested wrongly. They didn't commit the crime. That could be you. In a cell, maybe you get a 2-month sentence. That's good enough for Donnie. Again, it wasn't the worst of the worst like they promised on those first flights. A lot of them didn't even have records verified. Now it's the worst of the worst. U.S. citizens in U.S. prisons. Next, it's going to be the worst of the worst just out in the general population. And they get to decide who the worst of the worst is. And that's all they need to label you. Listen to Mr. Burchett again one more time. Let's listen to that again. Or let me read it to you. They're criminals. They broke our laws. They need to suffer. That's all. That's his criteria. That could be you, son. Understand how serious this moment is. Why? Because your own ass could end up on a plane to fucking El Salvador, to a death camp, where the dictator laughs about it, even if you're innocent. It could be you, son. That's the problem. That's why we've been yelling for 10 years that this is a fascist type authoritarian movement. We haven't been yelling for our health. We've been yelling because that's what it is, and we're seeing the maximum final expression of it. And it's going to come to everyone's doorstep. I don't care if you support it or not. A lot of you supporters have already been fucked over. Kind of like this, the Dow down again. As Donnie plays, the Fuhrer. Dow down 400. I forget where it closed today. It might have lost like I think it lost about 500 points today. That was earlier in the day. And the reason I looked at that is because this person posted the value of the US dollar continues to fall daily. So does the US stock market. Any guesses why? And here's what his dollar chart looks like. And, to me, it looks like it's going in the wrong direction. Now, there's two ways Donnie could fucking ruin the economy. He could just ruin the economy, which he's doing. He could also devalue the dollar intentionally, because he needs to get us on Donnie coin. And don't worry, he will. Just like El Salvador got their people on Bitcoin. That's the model you're living in, the El Salvadoran model. And the Nazi model. And here's Donnie begging because of his tariffs, because he's utterly thrown a monkey wrench into the economy. He wants the Federal Reserve to come bail him out and do something that's going to, jump the Dow up for a few days, and then we'll be right back down in the shitter. That's what Donnie's looking for, a lifeline from the Fed, from the problem or for the problem that he literally created himself. The ECB is expected to cut interest rates for the 7th time, and yet too late, Jerome Powell of the Fed, who is always too late and wrong, that's in caps, yesterday issued a report which was another and typical complete mess. Oil prices down. He just goes on to lie about the current state of the economy. None of it's true. What's the point here? Why am I reading this to you? Because I want to show you how Donnie's begging the Federal Reserve to bail him out. And Donnie's basically saying, look, I'm trying to fucking grift here. Can you help me out, Jerome? Can you help me out so I can take the grift further and longer before the pitchforks come out? That's what Donnie's saying. That's all he's saying here. This gentleman, it took a surprisingly short amount of time for people to defend mistakenly sending people to death camps. Yes, do you hear yourselves, people? Those of you that are not Russian, Indian, Saudi, Chinese trolls, whatever shithole country you're from, like our shithole country. We have trolls here. We have PR firms, trolls all over the fucking place. Those of you that are American and you're cheering this on, again, I want you to hear what this man is saying here. This is you. It took a surprisingly short amount of time for people to defend mistakenly sending people to death camps. I feel like we skipped a few steps in the authoritarian playbook. We did indeed. I've been saying to you people, I'm surprised even how fast this is moving, and I'm the short timeline guy. I gave you the timeline. I did not think by 3 months in, we would be wondering if someone is dead or alive in a death camp after the government gives them no due process, after a judge says they're allowed to stay here, grabs them off the fucking street, ships them down to a death camp, and people are applauding that. Now he wants to move the U.S. citizens in our prisons, and you're applauding that. Guess who's next, son, as you clap like a seal for the Reich? Guess who's next? You. That's who's next. As you clap for it. You won't be clapping on the flight to El Salvador, don't worry. Don't worry. We did skip a few steps. I didn't think 3 months in we'd be talking death camps already and financing them and sending people there in the hundreds and talking about sending American citizens. This is moving astoundingly fast as the SEALs clap for it. It's falling in line with my timeline. I figured it would happen. Everything would be super fast. It'd be bombard us, blitzkrieg us every day with just evil, use AI to write executive orders, grift and loot everything that's not nailed down. War, NX talk, death camps. I figured all that would happen, just not this fast. Thought it would take a couple years. We 3 months in. And we talking about, we have congressmen and senators on television saying, yeah, it's cool to send U.S. citizens. Fuck it. You better realize where you at, son. U.S. citizens in prison leads to U.S. citizens not in prison, son. If only you had studied history. What a fucking shame. Maybe you'd still have a country. Maybe you'd still have a future. Maybe you wouldn't be in the apocalypse right now. But you chose it. I'm a soybean farmer who voted for Trump. I'm begging the president to end the trade war. The tariffs on China could put us out of business by 2027. All our blood, sweat, and toil could vanish with the stroke of a pen. Before I comment, the president of the Soy Association on CNN begging Trump to stop the tariffs after voting for him 3 times. You can't make this shit up. Yes, you people are your own worst enemy. You laughed, you cheered, you wanted to own the libs, and you only owned yourself, son. That's all you owned. Because you let your bias get in the way. You let your brainwashing. You let the evil within you get in the way. To the point, you watch this man put tariffs on everything that farmers do, businesses do in his first term. You saw it, you watched it, you felt the effects of it if you were a farmer. You voted for it 2 more times after that, son? What's wrong with you? Are you a sadist? Do you like sticking your own foot up your own arse as far as it can go? Do you want to be grifted? Do you want to be lied to? Do you want to be conned? Do you want to be looted and dismantled? Too late, it's already happening. Again, this fucking man, look at him. Why do you think he voted the way he voted? Looking at the man. I can answer that question for you, but I won't. I'll be a nice guy. I know exactly why he voted the way he voted. Here's the thing, though. Again, you guys knew what was going to happen. He said he's going to do tariffs again after he fucked you over the last time. You're so bigoted. You're so lost. You're so worthless to society that you vote for the demise of us all. And guess what? This is going to be a hard thing to reckon with if you care. We cared more about you and your family than you did. And you're learning that lesson the hard way. We weren't just yelling for our sake, son. A lot of us, we care about our fellow Americans. We ain't looking to kill, people we politically disagree with. That's not what we're looking to do. We're not like you. That's why we didn't put our name on the Antichrist and the apocalypse. Because we're not of the same place that you are of. Maybe you change your mind at some point. Maybe you wise the fuck up. I doubt it, though. Anyway, here's a picture. Never again is now. It's a comparison to the German camps and the El Salvador camps. I see quite a similarity there. Men basically in shelving weird units. The people in the death camp in Germany actually look like they have a little more space than the men in CCOT, actually. This is what you're cheering on. And no, every man in that room is not a hardcore killer, son. If you believe that, I got some property to sell you. There's a reason they have triple the incarceration rate in El Salvador. It's not because they have triple the criminals, son. That's impossible. Not with that small little tiny piece of land. The reason is it's a business now. And Bukele is a straight up uneducated dictator. A thug, a common mobster, who instead of letting certain gangs run things, now he runs things. And he takes money from them all. And he'll take any money from any country for any human body for him to lock up. And let me tell you something. People that want to be apologists for Bukele and say this isn't a death camp, when it sure fucking looks like one to me. These people never walk out of these prisons. CCOT. No one leaves before you die. That's a death camp, son. Here's what's really going to fuck you up. You ready? Do you actually trust that that thing called Bukele is going to house, feed, and clothe 200,000 people for the rest of their fucking lives? You really believe that? Does he seem like a nice guy to you? Does he seem like he gives a fuck about anyone but the next dollar he's going to get? For slavery, for extermination. You really believe, son, he's going to house those men for 50, 60 years, feed them, clothe them, pay for that, when he could just take the money and exterminate them? You really believe that, son? I got some great property in Nebraska, by the way. $2 million an acre, minimum 15 acres. Any takers? It's beachfront in Nebraska. I swear. Here's Donnie and a reporter in the gaudy-ass gold, whatever. I don't even know if that's the Oval Office or what the fuck. It looks like it looks like Trump Taj Mahal, actually. I was in there. I've been inside of it. It's as gaudy as that shit. Purple carpets and gold trim on everything. It was fucking hideous. And Donnie's, well, it's beautiful. I love it. It was hideous, son. If a court holds you in contempt, you will take steps to return Abrego Garcia to the United States and put him in front of a judge. Will you take steps if a court holds you in contempt? That's what they're asking. Donnie shitbags. Well, I'm not involved in it. What does that mean? Donnie's involved in it. He's the head of the Reich. So's Leon. Donnie's involved in everything. So he said he's not involved in it, so I have to assume he is involved in it. Donnie lies about everything, especially something this serious. I'm going to respond by saying you'll have to speak to the lawyers. Oh, yeah, speak to the lawyers. Throw them right under the fucking bus. I've heard many things about him, and we'll have to find out what the truth is. Oh, wait a minute. I thought we knew. Miss Bondi's out there calling him a terrorist every 3 fucking seconds. Now Donnie's backpedaling? That's a big backpedal, too, and he threw everybody else right under the bus. I got nothing to do with it. I'm just the mob boss here. What do you mean? Death camps. What are you talking about? Nazi salutes. I don't know nothing about it, says the Antichrist, the convicted felon, the adjudicated rapist, adjudicated defamer, adjudicated fraud. Guy tried to overthrow the government. Guy stole 3,000 classified documents. Guy who paid off a porn star they had an affair with via his lawyer taking a second mortgage out on his fucking house. That's how cheap this cunt is. Yeah, so if Donnie says he's not involved, then yeah, he gave all the instructions. He's the head of everything. He did it all. That's what that means. Internal Palantir Slack messages Show the company did a recent sprint to build a tool that helps ICE find the physical locations of people who have been marked for deportation. This will be used on us. Thales involved. It's not for illegal immigrants. It's for you, son. Get ready for it. The Nazi Thales involved. He's a straight up Nazi. I've listened to his philosophies. They're naught but Nazism. He grew up in South Africa. He went to school there as a young child, in a town, in an area where they openly Sieg Heiled each other. That's Thales' philosophy on everything. Nazism, that's it. There's nothing new, nothing creative. He doesn't have any actual talent or creativity. These are Nazis. This will be used on us. And notice who's getting all the contracts, and we're not there yet, but that's what this is leading to. We'll get there. I'll talk more about it, don't worry. I like to give you a sense of what was going on through the day, you know what I mean? A U.S. citizen born in Georgia has been arrested for entering Georgia as an unauthorized alien during a hearing in Leon County. His mother presented his birth certificate and social security card, but the judge said she had no authority to release him. What's this? No authority? You're a judge. Donnie, I got no authority to release that guy from the death camp. I know he ain't supposed to be there. We said he wasn't. But I got no authority. And then the dictator comes here himself. I can't bring him back. Who am I? I'm just the dictator here. I can fly up here, but I can't fly him. We're powerless, just like this judge is saying. Disgusting. This a U.S. citizen, son. Again, this could be you. I know you don't see that yet till it comes knocking on your door. Don't worry, it will. I promise you. It's a Reich, son. It's coming to everyone's door. So what happened with this situation? This was a young man who was a U.S. citizen, and they held him anyway, even though his mother provided proof. What did I tell you guys a year ago? I said, if they do roundups by ethnicity or how you look, they're going to start grabbing Spanish people that are American, that are U.S. citizens. Even if you've got credentials, they have to give you the opportunity to show them before they kick your ass, throw you in the van, and take you to the gulag and transfer you 8 times. This is a business for them. That's what you people don't understand. That's the core thing about this. They make money the more people they kidnap off the fucking street and transfer them to 8 different facilities. Every facility gets paid for housing that motherfucker. It's a racket, son. It's a business. On its face, at the surface level, for Donnie and Leon and Thale and people up there, it's eugenics. That's where it's all leading. That's simple. They're Nazis. That's what Nazis believe. This is all logical, people. This isn't like surprise here. When you throw up a Nazi salute, you are saying, I believe in the tenets of Nazism. Thale as well, expressing his Nazi philosophies. He is saying, I believe in the tenets of Nazism. Do I have to give them to you again? Exterminating people you find undesirable. Locking up people in concentration camps, working them, starving them. Blitzkrieg, annexation, war, theft of resources from other countries. And so much more. So what happened with this person, quickly? The judge is a scumbag who, even though credentials were presented, papers please, that's where we're at, literally. And even when you present your papers, they still hold you because they've proven a point, son. The cruelty is the point they've proven. So they held him anyway. They made people protest outside. They had to go to those lengths. Talk about it all day online, build all kind of public pressure, and then they finally let him out. No excuse, man. And again, judges, cops, Gestapo, brown shirts, everyone in the Reich, God is watching you, son. You will answer for everything you're doing. That's a promise. And my God, will you be crying when he presents it to you. You took part in the Reich, son. You worked in a death camp. You kidnapped people off the street. You smashed their windows with a smile on your face. And you're going to try and argue your way out the lake now? I'm sorry, it's too late for that, son. How many did you send to their deaths in the death camp? How many times did you go on the news channels and say how great sending American citizens or sending anyone to a death camp is without due process? And now you want me to hear your argument for not going in the lake? Sorry, no due process. That was your philosophy. Shouldn't it be mine? Or whoever's standing there, whoever the gatekeeper is. I just have a small feeling I have something to do with it. I could just be the dude that like stirs the fucking lake or something. You know what I mean? Who knows? And, you know, I'm going to have to tell everyone the same thing they all told, they told everyone else. It's just business. I was just following orders, man. The man says I got to do this. Sorry, you're crying. But no due process. That's what the man said. I'm just following orders. I know it's the end of your existence, but I'm just following orders, man. You understand? It was your philosophy. That's where I got it from. The Trump administration just ordered social media vetting of all visa applicants who have been to Gaza Strip for any length of time since 2007, per diplomatic cable leaked to me. This is Ken Klippenstein making this claim. And he's always been on point ever since I found his work. He's never let me down and did something wrong or did something, for the wrong reasons. One more time, the Trump administration just ordered social media vetting. That means they're going to want to see your social media. That's coming to all of us, by the way. They're doing that to everybody. The people they grab off the street to deport to the death camp, they're looking at their social media. People they harass at airports because Donnie's the Antichrist and puts that spirit into them too. They look at your social media, naked pictures, everything, son. Everything. Now, anyone who's gone to Gaza as far as visa applicants, everything, son. That's coming to you too. That's the new thing. We want to look at your phone and look at all your naked pictures because we get off on it. Anyway, this is stunning. One of the plaintiffs in the Alien Enemies Act case who did get taken off a plane had a court hearing just 48 hours later, and ICE didn't even have one piece of evidence that he was part of Tren de Aragua. They had literally nothing to show in court. Do you hear me? This is happening to a lot of people. They're calling them terrorists or gangsters or whatever. And then when it comes down to in front of a judge, oh, we don't got no evidence. We just have this snitch who we were about to cut off if he didn't have no more information. And he told us he was a leader of a gang or something in like a state he's never been to. That's the type of evidence they have against a lot of these people. Or none at all. You got jack shit to present in court. What does that tell you, son? That tells you they're grabbing innocent people because they need numbers. And it's a Reich. There are higher agendas even than that. What you're seeing, again, on a basic level, you're seeing people being grabbed with no due process, being alleged to be the worst of the worst people in society, and thrown into a death camp. This man almost ended up in a death camp. He luckily was able to get a hearing quickly. Remember how the Supreme Court said everybody gets reasonable time? And what did Nikki say? Reasonable time could be a fucking hour. Depends who's setting that time, huh? We're going to see that later on here. Wow, one of the Venezuelans who Christy Nome, the puppy killer, tried to render to El Salvador's slave prison, managed to avoid removal and was able to make it to immigration court. And you'll never guess what happened. The government gave no evidence of his gang membership, due process, blah, blah, blah. Despite severe weather, potentially destructive storms expected in Nebraska on Thursday evening, the NWS Omaha didn't launch a morning weather balloon because they couldn't. Many NWS offices across the Corn Belt, the High Plains, and the Front Range didn't launch balloons. Why? Because they don't have the money to, because it was taken away. Donnie really loves you folks in the heartland. He's really taking care of you. Look, he's taking your ability to, detect weather away because he took the money. That other guy, the soy farmer, again, the heartland, baby. He's really taking care of you guys, ruining your farms, paying tariffs, taking your ability to protect your community regarding weather events away. That's the point. The chaos. Dismantle and loot for the enemy. That's what's going on here. Down to, we're going to, like the Grinch in, the night the Grinch stole Christmas. The Grinch took every motherfucking thing, the pictures off the walls. You know what else he took? The last crumb on the floor that the mouse was trying to eat. That's who these motherfuckers are. They're the Grinch with Satan mixed in. They take in every last crumb. That's what's going on. That's why simple weather balloons can't be launched. You're going to love this one. Trump's counterterrorism czar, Sebastian Gorka, for fuck's sake, says Americans critical of deportations like Abrego Garcia's are providing material support to terrorists, a felony crime. Again, this is Reich speak. This is Reich propaganda to a T, inverting reality, saying we out here advocating for an innocent fucking man that the government admitted they shouldn't have deported. We're the terrorists. No, son, you're the terrorists. Every single person that voted for Donnie and Donnie himself. Why? Because Donnie tried to overthrow the U.S. government. That automatically makes him a terrorist. And every single person that took part and tried to break into rooms and kill people, you're all terrorists. Literally. So what were you doing when you voted for Donnie Shitbags, according to Mr. Gorka's philosophy? You were aiding and abetting and giving material support to a terrorist. Every single person who voted for Donnie, every person that speaks in favor of him, speaks positively. You've aided and abetted and provided material support for an actual terrorist, according to Mr. Gorka's philosophy. We're not the terrorists out here. We didn't smear shit on the walls, and we didn't incite anyone to smear shit on the walls. That was Donnie Shitbags. So we have a literal terrorist, a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, defamer, and fraud, who is sending other people to death camps, calling them the worst of the worst, having people for the Reich like Mr. Gorka, who is, my God, so pathetic. Talk about how we're terrorists because we're advocating for a man the government admitted was innocent. As far as Abrego, again, he has no charges in El Salvador. He has no charges here. Yet he's in a death camp, and they won't let him out. No due process, no charges. What does that sound like, son? That sounds like you. What they're going to do to you. No due process. We don't need charges. We just don't like you. That's what the Reich's, that's what the Reich does. So if Mr. Gorka wants to call us all terrorists and literally invert reality and just do some straight up Hitler style reversal propaganda, calling good evil and evil good. Well, I can do it too, right? Because Donnie's a literal terrorist, and you people that took part in that riot that day, you're literal terrorists. That's why you got put on no-fly lists. Did you notice that? So you, every one of you that are part of this, support it, voted for it, you, by Mr. Gorka's standards and mine, you provided material support and aided and abetted a terrorist. Thank you for your time. Musk's SpaceX's frontrunner to build Trump's Golden Dome. Why has everything got to be gold? Golden Dome missile shield. And of course, the contract's just going to happen to go to Leon. I wonder why. Leon scum, SpaceX, and two partners have emerged as frontrunners to win a crucial part of Trump's Golden Dome missile defense shield. 6 people familiar with the matter told Reuters, this doesn't sound like a grift at all. This doesn't sound like giving straight up taxpayer welfare right to go right in your pocket, no expenses, right to Leon and other people. It doesn't sound like that at all, right? Because I'm sure they're going to build this great Golden Dome fake bullshit they're talking about. Nope, that money's going right in motherfuckers' pockets in the form of a contract. You know what I call it, son? Welfare. When the American taxpayer is the biggest, profit you make on your business, you on welfare, son. Don't matter if your welfare is in the millions or billions or trillions. You still just a sad ass with your hand out, like you say about everybody else, right, Leon? Right. And that's what I'm here to tell you, Leon. You would have been nothing without the welfare from America. How fucking dare you do what you're doing now? How dare you not be kissing every American taxpayer's ass? Because we are the only reason you are anything. And you sure ain't much, son. All I see you doing is buying into places. I don't see you doing jack shit, but playing video games, asking random podcasters to have your children, using your son as a human shield. That's all I see you doing, son. Nothing good. Firing a lot of people, ruining a lot of people's lives. You wonder why people hate you, son? Leon's rocket and satellite company is partnering with software maker Palantir. Oh, Thale! So Leon and Thale get another contract. Another handout from the taxpayers whose country they are dismantling and looting and betraying with their every fucking breath. That's great. More welfare for Thale and Leon, who pump millions into Donnie. Not corrupt at all. No, actuality, it's exactly what I said it was going to be as I begged you people not to turn our country into Russia. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing Russia. Naked, blatant corruption right in your face. They're not ashamed. They don't even hide it anymore. Where the richest man in the world can pay $230 million for a literal office in the White House and get contract after contract to the tune of hundreds of billions by the end of this watch. Before the first year's up, it'll be hundreds of billions, if not $1 trillion. Thale also getting several contracts now at least. In the billions. That's your money, son, they're grifting. These are the rich, some of the richest guys on earth. They grift in your money. And you applauding it, you supporting it, you talking it up. Again, no one gets over on you, Rubes, right? Wait till you see where we're at like a year from now. And 3 years from now, when you see real fucking Armageddon. That's what you've done here. Again, I told you, this is not The same old where you just vote evil and go about your day and go to church on Sunday and pretend you're a good person. No, this is when the man comes around, where the bill is due for all that behavior your whole life. Because again, this is the maximum expression of it. This Reich that is. That's because of you. Wouldn't be possible otherwise. China forbids all billionaires to invest in the U.S. China says the U.S. is no more a safe place for them. So the Chinese keep pulling more and more back. And again, they don't need us. We need them every step of the way. They win every trade war every time before it begins because we are overbloated, fat, and lazy. And they have all the factories. And that's where everything is made. Even Donnie's MAGA hats are made in China. As you talk shit on China and say Joe's all about China. But again, I want to go back to this. The Leon and Thale, again, getting more of your money. Again, more billions in contracts as they take things away from you and make it impossible to get Social Security and all that. I mean, can you believe the greed here? They literally stand there with their hand out like this for your money. As they dismantle Social Security, give our info to the Russians. It's proven now. Can you even fathom what kind of Satan must be in a person to be that greedy? And to want to ruin people's lives so badly? I don't even understand what it's like to be like that. Again, that's another animal. Those are the children of Satan, and they know it, and they're proud of it. They don't hide it. We are not. You'll all learn that as this unfolds, and at the end especially. You'll learn who's who, and you'll see who the real man is, even though you've been worshiping the other man. That other man, he's an imp compared to the man. Nothing. Insignificant. A fucking frog. We're all going to learn that. All at the same time. As the imp's being thrown in. As he's crying, fighting, whimpering, gyrating. Again, I've seen it. Trump says that he doesn't like Zelensky because he got Ukraine involved in a war. Yes, he went on a rant today in the gaudy gold room about how this is Biden's war, and I don't really like Zelensky. He's not a smart guy. He went on the whole rant about how, you don't get involved in a war with a bigger bully or a bigger guy than you. And, I'm not a fan. I'm not blaming him, but I'm not a fan. In other words, Donnie blamed him for the invasion by the demon Putin. And then he said, well, I'm not blaming him. That's Donnie, though, isn't it? Disgusting. Abomination. Blasphemies for over 1,200 days. That's a part of the story. That's what he's doing every day. I'm watching. And every day I get that feeling, oof, abomination. Oof, blasphemy. Ooh. Every day I get it. Why? Because that's what he's ordained to do. And he's doing it. 19 undocumented workers each say they worked for a Trump organization over the years. Yes, I worked for a Trump property many years ago. There were all kind of illegals working in there. I mean, people that didn't speak a word of English, obviously right off the boat. Whatever, I don't care. I didn't want their job or anything. I'm just telling you the reality. I knew there were all kind of illegals working with me. There was a few thousand employees. It was like a city. All kinds. In EVS, which is, you sweep up, you clean up, you handle the trash, the toilets, housekeeping all over the place, stewarding, where you wash the china for the place. Again, this is like a city, this place. Ballrooms, restaurants, meeting rooms, conference rooms, an arena of 5,000 people. Big place. A lot of illegals working there. Again, they caught Donnie with illegals working during his first term. Do you remember, Rubes? And Donnie just exempted the hotel illegals, especially. So we'll throw everyone else out, harass everyone, but not Donnie's illegals that he has at his hotels. And these 19 illegals here say, yeah, we worked for Trump before. Standard. Donnie don't give a fuck about illegal immigration. None of the companies do. They hire them all. That's who's at fault here, the companies. Donnie is a company man. He's had plenty of resorts and hotels. Illegals work in every single one of them, I promise you. Donnie's all about that. Cheap labor, baby. All of a sudden, principles, racism, all the kind of shit that people have, even elite people's, goes right out the window when they're deciding to pick a housekeeper. They could pick an American woman that's going to want, 70, 80,000 a year. Or they could pick an illegal Mexican woman who's going to want 20,000 a year. And boy, we all know who they picking, don't we? Every motherfucking time. That's the reality of the situation, despite what you rubes yell. But again, you rubes at the bottom, the people at the top, none of you believe in a damn thing. You're just yelling the point of the day. That's all you're doing. Whatever the normal talking points against the liberals are. Like, we got to get rid of these illegals. They're taking all our jobs. And if you're a contractor, guess who you hiring? To be your laborers. We both know the answer to that question. It ain't going to be American, son. We know that. Let's be honest here. It's just kind of ironic watching the racism on one end and then watching you hire a bunch of them on the other end. You people are so lost. You believe in nothing. When you believe in nothing, you're a malleable piece of clay that can be molded into anything the Reich wants. And they molded you fucking fools into giving your country to Vlad Putin via Leon Scum and Donnie, who are both owned by Vlad. And it only cost Leon $230 million to buy Donnie. You handed it over. You realize that, right? And it's too late to go back. It's over. I've been saying since the election, the second the keys get handed to that man, the United States is over. And boy, from what we're seeing. Again, we're openly, senators and congressmen openly talking about sending U.S. citizens, that's you, to a death camp in El Salvador. Better wake up, son. Time to start believing in something. Time to start believing in something. Oh my God, this fucking guy. Another DOGE cunt, Hitler Youth, got a position in the Department of Defense. This guy at Defense and a 28-year-old IT DOGE guy with a very spotted past in charge of all foreign assistance programs at state, including what's left of U.S. aid and lots more. Total chaos and a gift to Russia, China, and Iran. And here's the actual dude, the DOGE cunt, who's 28 and gets this lead position over programs that people need. Can you fucking believe it? And his name is, the jerk-off's name is Royce Chamberlain. I am excited and honored to announce I have been appointed to the office of the Secretary of Defense at the DOD. Then guess what he wrote? The genius that's only a few years out of college. That's if he even went. I don't even think he did. Guess what he wrote next? Helping ensure our country is viewed as a force not to be reckoned with. One more time. And this is the guy in charge. Thanks, Rubes. You realize your country's over, right? And your future and your kids' future. Over. Fucking over. Here's the proof. 28-year-old DOGE cunt Hitler Youth in charge of all these programs, Department of Defense. Helping ensure our country is viewed as a force not to be reckoned with. He doesn't even know how true that Freudian slip is. Again, I've been saying since 10 years. You're going to be left in a vulnerable, looted, and dismantled position, ripe for attack. Helping ensure our country is viewed as a force not to be reckoned with. That's what this fucking genius put out on social media. And I think it's still there. But it's true, though. That's literally what DOGE is doing. So the Freudian slip is not so Freudian, it's actual reality. Our country, all of our allies hate us. They will not help us. That's what Donnie wants. That's what Vlad wants. That's what Leon wants. That's what Thale wants. A mob-style oligarchy like Russia, except on a global scale. They hate democracy and democracies. So again, what is DOGE doing? What is Leon doing? What is Donnie doing? What is Thale doing? What are J.D. Vance and others doing? Making sure our country is a force not to be reckoned with. And you help them do this. Again, I suggest you start believing something, son. Don't be a malleable piece of clay no more. Don't view the world through liberal and Republican. View the world from right and wrong, and don't care whose mouth the right coming out of. Son. Again, the philosophy which you fucking MAGA people. Shit, my house is on fire. But hold on a second, firefighters. Before you put that fire out, was that a liberal that set that fire, or was that a Republican that set that fire? Because if it was a liberal, we got to put it out. But if it was a Republican, I'm just going to stand back and let it burn. I don't care that my family's inside. Donnie did it. I got to let it burn. I got to run along with it. I got to go along. Right? That's how you live your life. You proved it by voting for that thing 3 times. Again, we've got people co-signing evil. Some of you are co-signing evil, and you're trying to present it as good and right because you have to go along with the Reich. Otherwise, you get called a rhino, and your wife won't like you anymore, or your daddy, or your friend. You'll be ostracized. You're not part of the cult anymore. Oh, no. Yeah, again, 28-year-old kid, force not to be reckoned with. That's what he's trying to ensure our country is. Well done, Rubes. You have thoroughly destroyed America. I'm impressed. I'm fucking impressed. Fourth Circuit unanimously rejects Trump request to halt proceedings in Mr. Abrego Garcia's case. So Donnie asked to halt the proceedings. Reagan appointee Wilkinson writes that the Trump admin's position is shocking not only to judges, but to the intuitive sense of liberty that Americans still hold dear. So the judges are getting pissed. And the judges are starting to realize it's most likely a death camp. And again, this is a Reagan appointee, not an Obama judge, not a Biden judge. Your hero, Ronald Reagan, said, no, we're not pausing the case. Not a single person sent to El Salvador on March 15 has been allowed even a phone call since being sent there. No proof of life has been provided, not even a picture. That's before today. We treat serial killers who've been convicted of crimes better than that. El Salvador must permit oversight. We only got to verify one man today, but I'll get to that. And that's a big deal, and I'm thrilled to see that. That's what I was hoping for. But up until that moment, this guy was spot on. You don't hear from these people. You don't get proof of life. We have no idea how many of them are dead, how many are alive, how many are actual criminals, how many aren't. Because again, they got triple the incarceration rate, so they just grabbing motherfuckers. And Bukele's a dictator, so anyone he doesn't like is going to end up in one of those fucking prisons, and everyone knows it. And no, he's not going to take care of them all for the next 50 years and spend all that money. No, there's only one solution. It's called a final solution. And we all know where the concentration camp thing goes. It goes to starving people and working them till they drop and die. And be like, oh, well, he's a criminal, just like the guy in the White House. Literally convicted felon. You guys forget that all the time, don't you? So yes, up until today, what this person said, no one gets a phone call, no one gets jack shit. You're in there till you die, and, you know, whatever. Everyone's cool with it. That's where we at. And this is Van Hollen again. We were just denied entry into CCOT. That was yesterday. I just wanted to read that statement again. And yes, this philosophy here. Prison without due process is a concentration camp. Indeed. I consider a concentration camp just a large concentration of prisoners. Here's another picture of Auschwitz versus El Salvador. And no, just because the Reich and the dictatorship say every man in there is guilty as fuck, half the time they can't even find charges on motherfuckers. And Abrego ain't got no charges in El Salvador or America. So why are some of these people there if they have no charges? So I'm not even entertaining the arguments that they're all hardened criminals that the Reich makes and you parrot. Like a good death parrot. You know, the blackface parrot, the death parrot. Maybe I'll show you the picture again one of these days. Fascinating creature. But I think the literal spirit of death was like in the creature when I saw it. I'm not sure though. All I know is it scared me. I felt a little something when the bird looked at me. And he cocked his head like that. Like it's the fucking Exorcist or something. Scared the shit out of me. It was right at the beginning of this bullshit. I got the picture in here, but it's probably 1,000 pictures back. Anyway, let's continue. Police announced the FSU shooter. I forgot. You know, when a school shooting is low priority news, that means you're in the apocalypse, okay? Police announced the FSU shooter, Phoenix Eichner, is the son of Leon County Sheriff's deputy and used one of the deputy's weapons in the attack. So we've got a cop's kid, a white boy. Here's his face right here. He looks very stable and well-adjusted. And it's a cop's kid, and he used the cop's weapon to do the crime. Ouch. I believe one person died, and about 5 had like some serious injuries, like life-threatening. I think that's how it turned out. And again, it's sad when that's low-priority news. That's how you know your country's the Wild West and Russia, and it's over. The Dow did close 527 down. Donnie's a great idea, right, guys? It's going real well for your 401ks, I'm sure, and your businesses. Here's E. Jean Carroll, Friends. A unanimous federal jury finds Trump liable for defamation and orders him to fork over $83 million. Okay, so what does Trump do? He has the DOJ representing him in his ongoing appeal, i.e., lawyers for free. So how do you feel, according to E.G., about paying for Donnie's rape defense and defamation defense? How do you feel about that? You cool with that? Would you pay for Biden's rape defense and defamation defense? Would you still be cool with that? Of course you wouldn't. You'd be screaming your fucking head off. That's because you don't believe in anything. For instance, I don't approve of Donnie using American taxpayer money for his rape defense and his defamation defense after he's already been adjudicated liable for it. And if Biden did it, or Obama or Bill Clinton or any liberal you can name, if they did the same thing, if they were trying to use taxpayer money as a rape defense and a defamation defense, I'd be kind of upset with that. I wouldn't like it. I'm just saying. But that's because, I actually believe in something. And it doesn't matter whether it has an R or a D next to it. Trump says that more tariffs on medicines, pharmaceuticals, and computer chips are on the way. This comes after the Dow lost over 500 points today. You would act no different if you were intentionally trying to destroy the economy. Yes, they are intentionally trying to destroy the economy, but they're grifting in the meanwhile. The stock manipulation, etc. The come pay me and I'll take the tariffs off, etc. But the end goal, of course, I told you way back, once Donnie won, once I looked at it for a minute, they have to crash it. I thought about it. They have to crash it to get you on the Donnie coin. If the economy's doing great, there's no reason to switch to Donnie coin, right? Right. So they have to crash it, and they'll grift it while they're crashing it. Leon, as he was dismantling and destroying Twitter, he thought he would make a profit on that. That was his intention. That's what he was trying to do. He got real mad when he realized he'd never make a profit on that. And it was just costing him money, and he's losing advertisers, and all of his numbers are fake. He ain't making jack shit on Twitter. It's the same here with the tariff stuff. Donnie's grifting as he's dropping it to the bottom, as he's dismantling and looting. The end goal again is to switch you to Donnie coin with the fight. And again, what number goes with the letter F in the alphabet? Count it off. What number is the letter F in the alphabet? Count it off. Remember that it's repeated 3 times. See what number you come up with, and then think about it for a minute. So yes, they are intentionally trying to destroy things for our enemy. When asked if President Xi has contacted him yet, Trump uses the most humiliating roundabout way to say no. Well, you'd think it's pretty obvious that he has. It's not that important. It's not that important. He goes on long-ass rants in all caps on fucking Twitter all day about it, or Truth Social. And Donnie acted like, of course he called me, but I can't say he called me because he didn't call me. No, Mr. Xi did not call. Why? Because they are in a strong position and we are in a weak position. That's why. He doesn't need to call. And he knows that. China wrote out the tariffs the entire 4 years last time. They couldn't give a fuck. What do you think they're going to do now? The Chinese are tough people, by the way. When you throw the gauntlet down in their face and challenge them like this outright and talk shit, they take that very seriously. And they're tough people. Hell, they've been the manufacturing center for the first world. They've been pimped out for how many decades now, and they're able to survive it. I don't think you, the American that grew up here, could survive the Chinese society the way you have to live. You'd probably fall the fuck out. Not probably, definitely. Very hard life for them. It is the novel 1984 over there. I'm sorry to say. It's slowly getting that there here, though. Not slowly, pretty quickly, actually. Again, we're 3 months in death camps and people are cheering it on. They're clapping like some of the Germans were for Hitler with his death camps. It's insane. NLRB whistleblower claims Musk DOGE potentially caused significant security breach. This is the guy, I forget his fucking name, Berulis or something is his last name. This is the genius motherfucker who caught DOGE with their hand in the motherfucking cookie jar and they gave those cookies to Russia. He caught them the whole fucking way. The spike in traffic, the IP addresses, the access information, the password and access info, 15 minutes after DOGE was fucking around in the system. That tells me all I need to know, son. This motherfucker's a genius. And I'm glad he was there. Look at this guy again. Berulis. This is a smart motherfucker, and you ain't getting nothing by him. Again, he's contending a bunch of high school kids that dropped out of college. They're nothing. They're maggots compared to this guy's intellect. That's why they sent death threats. That's why they pinned a note to his front house door. That's why they showed him footage of a drone following him. That's why they stalked, harassed him. Because he caught their hand in the cookie jar, and he's going to talk about it. He wasn't afraid. They ain't used to that. So what did they resort to? Threatening his life. Trying to scare him, intimidate him, stalk him, surveil him. That's how I know this guy's spot on with his information. That's how I know everything he's saying and more is true about this. That's how I know they gave the info to the Russians. Guaranteed. Otherwise, the threats wouldn't have been necessary against this man. The stalking, the surveillance, the intimidation. That gives the whole game away, son. Once you cross that threshold of sending thugs after a man to try and kill him at a Wawa convenience store, you have given the game away, son. Once you pin a note to this man's front door, once you cross that threshold into mobbery, thuggery, you have given the game away. That means you're guilty. Sorry. Now the whole world knows that the DOGE people are giving information or access directly to Russia, complete with password login info, directly into government computer systems. Again, how do I know it's true? The threats against this man. That's how I know. Once, again, the evildoer decides to cross that threshold, I gotta do something. This guy's too good. He's too effective. He caught me too badly. That's when the game is given away. That's how you know the parties are guilty. They tell you. They show you. When you don't have the values for the variables and you need them, you have to say and do things and get people to react. That's what they did to this man. That's what they did to me, too. That filled in the values for the variables for me. And I didn't have to wonder anymore. The same way I don't have to wonder about this. They don't send a drone to watch you walk your dog so they can show it to you later for nothing, son. That means they're guilty. And that means, remember, again, I talked about this way before we had this evidence. I said they're stealing your information. And God knows who they're giving it to. Now we've got concrete, irrefutable proof, including threats and intimidation, stalking, surveillance. Case closed. Here's a rube. Got a quote for a purchase today, and it had a $77 tariff surcharge. I am 100% Trump. But how do we get charged a tariff surcharge for purchasing a foreign-made item? Someone with more knowledge explain this to me, please. Edited. They got some stars and some edit. You got it. Look at that bottom section. They put a bunch of stars and edited. Ready for this edited part? If you just start bashing my president, I will remove you from my friends list. That tells me this is a real comment and it's not a Democrat trying to fuck with people. That tells me it's real. You mean the president that just fucked you over and cost you $77 more? If we talk shit on him, you're going to cut us off? Again, that's rubery at its essence, isn't it? Protect the cult and the cult leader at all costs, even when he's giving us the shaft and laughing about it and telling you how great it is and saying America's taken in so much riches. Have you seen any of those riches? You never will, son. They want to take more from you, not give you more. So again, we have a rube, we have a fucking idiot. Again, we've been yelling for 10 years about these tariffs. And who pays them? You see it on every news channel except for maybe Fox and OANN, but that's not news, that's propaganda. And we've explained this to you over and over again, rubes, that you pay the tariff, not China. China. Like your orange-faced clown says. Some rubes haven't gotten the message yet. Do you think a business is not going to pass that cost on to you? Do you think a government is not going to pass that cost on to you, son? That's why you a rube. That's why you voted for the apocalypse. Congratulations. Oh, Abrego Garcia. Let's go to that. That's the big news. That's the big news. I saw this post earlier and I was quite stunned. I couldn't believe it. Because I thought Van Hollen was leaving El Salvador yesterday with nothing. Then this comes out today. I'm glad I was wrong. And I hope I'm wrong about the whole rest of it. I've been saying that for a while, haven't I? Been saying it for years. I hope I am wrong about everything I say. And we'll only know that in the end. Donnie goes away tomorrow or gets arrested. Whatever happens to him. I know what's going to happen. He's not going to get arrested. He's going to have a Reich for a few years. And it's going to be horrible. And he's going to be worse than Hitler, Nero. That's my prediction, based on what I know. And again, I'll reiterate. I hope I am dead wrong. I've always said that. I don't want these things to happen. I take no pleasure in the Reich or the apocalypse or any of that. You do, though. Those of you that have your name on this. Anyway, so this is Senator Chris Van Hollen. He actually got his meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I was stunned. I thought the man was dead. I said my main goal of this trip was to meet with Kilmar. Tonight I had that chance. I have called his wife, Jennifer, to pass along his message of love. I look forward to providing a full update upon my return. I don't know how this man got this to happen. I have a feeling after they didn't let him see him, I think they took a gauge, a barometer of the wind and saw everyone yelling about it, that he's probably dead. So they had no choice. They had to show proof of life. It was getting out of hand. Does that convince me it's not a death camp? Absolutely fucking not. Because I have a feeling if so many people weren't talking about this Abrego man publicly for over a month, he probably would be dead right now. I'd be willing to bet money he'd be dead right now if he didn't become a public discussion where judges are involved and all that. Again, I have no faith that Mr. Dictator Bukele is going to house, feed, and clothe men for 50, 60 years. No way do I believe that. Because again, you're in these prisons for life, certain ones. That costs money. The dictator's going to pay for that for 50, 60 years when he could just have you done away with, cost him nothing. We all know where it's going. I certainly know where it's going. Where it probably already is. Just because Abrego's alive, God knows about the other people that no one talks about. Who knows where they are? So again, Van Hollen got to meet with Abrego, and this is one of the pictures. I have a few pictures I can show you. And again, I'm not so sure this man would be alive if he didn't become a public discussion. And what about all the rest of them? God knows what happened to them. It's great that Mr. Abrego is able to connect with his wife. This is a lawyer talking. Now the question is, how will the U.S. government facilitate his return as ordered by the Supreme Court? Well, I don't think they're going to do that. And we can't forget the other 237 people sent to El Salvador on March 15, like Andre. Yes, there's a lot of other people in there. Some of them have no criminal history, and they got no due process. That problem is still there. Abrego got no due process. Bukele didn't say he's letting him out, and Bukele said he's never letting him go back to America. So we still have a problem where an innocent man who a judge says could stay here got shipped with no due process to a death camp, and they're not letting him out when he doesn't have any charges in El Salvador and he doesn't have any charges in America. We still have a huge problem, son, even though he's still alive. And my God, the anger with so many of you demons and Mr. Bukele himself that he even had to show proof of life. Why would anyone have a problem with that? Unless you're of Satan. That doesn't even make logical sense to me. I kind of skipped over some other pictures. Let's go back. Wow, diplomatic pressure absolutely worked. Van Hollen got in, met with Abrego, and becomes the first person to have any meeting with any of the people sent to El Salvador on March 15. Again, none of the other men were allowed phone calls. No one knows if they're alive or dead. We only know that this guy's alive now because of the ridiculous public pressure. A senator had to fucking fly down there. And we wouldn't even know that if a senator didn't fly down. Why? Because public pressure made it appear that if they didn't provide proof of life or let the senator see him, that everybody would think he was dead. That scared them. That's the only reason he got to meet with this guy. So this guy's a fucking hero, and as far as I'm concerned regarding this situation, Mr. Van Hollen. Reminds me of the guy again that went down to Jonestown, Leo. And he lost his life. Another hero. So let's look at the pictures. I kind of skipped over them. I didn't want to do that. Van Hollen shaking hands with Abrego. And I don't know who that third person is. A lawyer, a diplomat. I have no fucking idea. They're sitting at a table, talking. A little more of a close-up. Why couldn't the Republican congressman that went there do this? He actually got in the prison. Why did Mr. Van Hollen have to go through all this when they let Mr. Moore in the day before? Why couldn't he just... Because that wasn't the point of the visit. The point of the visit was to mock Mr. Van Hollen so Bukele and Donnie could laugh at Mr. Moore getting access the day before. I hope that Senator Van Hollen got some information about the others. This is the lawyer talking. This is a lawyer I found today who does some excellent work. Don't forget, it's now been a month since Andri, Neri, and other Venezuelans were sent to CCOT. All remain in prison. Tonight's meeting shows that Bukele knows he has to keep the people sent to CCOT somewhere safe. No, he doesn't know that. He knows that the eyes of the world and senior officials in the United States are watching him. No, we're not watching him. Only with this one specific person. No one else is... We're not watching for anyone else. And now that they've shown Abrego, everyone's going to go back to their workstation. Like, oh, okay, everything's cool now. No, everything's not cool. It's still a death camp, son. You don't leave till you die. Who's to say when that'll be? Never know. It can happen in a prison. Especially if it eventually turns into a straight-up extermination camp, which I'm not convinced it isn't now. So Bukele doesn't know shit. He mocked this whole thing. And there's no other names that seem to be really being discussed like Mr. Abrego's name was. So, the humans will do the normal thing. We'll just move on. It's not a death camp. Yeah, it is. It's also worth highlighting that despite I'm not mad attitude, Bukele felt the need to give Mr. Abrego Garcia normal clothes and a hat to cover the shaved head that he got on being sent to CCOT. Yeah, we know prisoners don't usually look like that in CCOT. They don't even have shirts. They got like a loincloth and fucking nothing else. That's normal for CCOT. Not a hat and a nice flannel and, regular clothes. Absolutely not. So yeah, that was a little bit of an act. Now let's make sure we get these men the due process they deserve. That's never going to happen, unfortunately. All right, this is really serious right here, and I want to make it clear. I am not putting these allegations forth. This person is. This person is named Andrew. I forget their last name. I thought they had it in their screen name. I guess they don't. This Andrew person is a legit journalist. They've done some big stories. They have a big following. They do real work. That's why I have them in my feed. I don't have anyone that doesn't do real work in my feed. So this person's making a bold claim, and they're claiming they have witnesses and they've done the research to prove their claim. The posts they put up has now 27 million views and no lawsuits. That's the point this person's making. So let's start with that. 21 million views and still no lawsuit. What you waiting for, J.D. Vance? And here's why the person's saying that. The same person posted this. J.D. left a comment, and here's the comment. The entire American media and left-wing industrial complex, has decided the most important issue today is that the Trump admin deported an MS-13 gang member and illegal alien. First of all, a judge said he could stay and he can't be deported back to El Salvador. That's one. So that's lie one. And an MS-13 gang member, no judge has ever said he's an MS-13 gang member. Only the Reich in El Salvador and the Reich here. None of which can be trusted in the slightest. So what did this person write in response to this? You changed your name 3 times because you kept getting caught raping children in the Ohio Valley. Again, this is not me making these allegations. I'm just reading the information. And this ain't from some third-rate fucking nobody. And I have witnesses who can and will testify against you on this. I cannot wait to put you in prison for the rest of your life, you sick fuck. Again, this isn't some fringe fucking nobody saying this. This is someone that's done real journalism and is known. They're saying they have witnesses. They're saying this person rapes children, and that's why he had to change his name 3 times. Anyone who has to change their name 3 times, they're obviously running from some type of past. But I want to be fair. I'm not MAGA. I'm not you people. I would never call even my worst enemy a pedophile or a rapist unless they were actually a rapist and there was some solid proof out there that I could point to. Because I don't enjoy calling anyone that. And I know how serious an allegation that is. I take that very seriously. Now, the MAGA movement and the Russian shills and all these scumbags out there have been calling people pedos left and right, whoever you don't like, whoever you disagree with. That's been going on for a couple decades as Vlad has molded you into what you are now. I am not that. I am not you. So I am not saying for sure this man raped children. What I'm saying is this man is making the claim that JD did this and that he has witnesses. This man's post, 27.3 million views. You can see it right there. So this ain't some little fringe post with 30 followers or 30 comments with 1,000 views. Almost 30 million have seen this. So JD knows, Leon knows, Donnie knows. And no one's threatening a lawsuit. In fact, they're not even addressing it. What does that tell you? Plus the fact the man changed his name 3 times. Anyone that does that, I mean, come on, you're running from something. You don't want people to know who you are. You're starting a new life multiple times for a purpose, for a reason. Very serious allegations, and I take it seriously, and I don't take any pleasure in calling anyone a pedophile. Again, I'm not MAGA. I'm not in a cult. I know how serious those type of allegations are. And I would, even someone I despise, I would not point to them and say they're a pedophile unless I had serious evidence of it. This person is claiming they have serious evidence of it. But I'll let them decide to report it when they decide to. Palantir is equipping ICE with AI systems that fuse federal data sets to identity, track, and prioritize deportation targets in real time. ICE awarded Palantir a $29.8 million contract to upgrade its immigration lifecycle operating system, streamlining enforcement from identification to removal. So fails all up in this bullshit. $30 million. I wonder who pays that. System to track and identify deportation targets in real time and prioritize. What did you think they wanted AI for? To help humanity? No, to do shit like this. To go after us. It's going to be used on all of us, not just brown-skinned immigrants that you don't like. It's going to be used on you too. To prioritize you as a target. They don't even need a whole room of men to do it anymore. Just program an AI bot to do it all. It'll get everyone's name and information in order, and who knows how long it'll take. That's going to be used on you, son. Again, Thal's a Nazi, Leon's a Nazi, Donnie is as well. So what do you think it's for? It's for the democracy they want to dismantle, that they are dismantling as you cheer them on. Well, I want to wait till you come to that moment. I don't know when it'll be. Maybe after you die, that moment when you'll realize your entire life and worldview was a waste. And you looked at evil as good and good as evil. And you cheered people like Thale and Donnie and Leon on as they ruined people's lives, including yours. What's that moment going to be like when you see it all before you and realize that you've utterly fucked up and basically just, I don't know, set fire to everything you pretended to care about? When that realization hits you, I don't know when it'll hit. Maybe it'll hit before you die. Maybe it'll hit when Donnie starts World War III. Maybe it'll hit when you're on the plane to El Salvador after you cheered it on. Maybe it'll hit after you're dead and standing at the lake. That's going to be a fucked up moment for you. When that gets used on you, when Thale uses his monstrosity to prioritize you as a target. Because that's what it's for. It ain't for brown-skinned immigrants, man. It's for the democracy they need to destroy so they can have their oligarch utopia. Live like Vlad, out in the open corruption, where no one dares speak against it because they'll be executed. That's what they're looking for. Especially Leon. This is the dictator of El Salvador's social media, Nayib Bukele. So we've got the picture here of Van Hollen and Abrego at the meeting. Now, Mr. Bukele is letting us know here, that's the real message here, that he's furious that this happened. They dared question him. They dared wanted proof of life. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. It doesn't sound like he's going to be let out of prison. Ever. And he's definitely not going to be allowed to go to America. Again, we have a demon mocking this situation. There's no charges in El Salvador against this man, no charges in America against this man. Yet we must make a point to keep him. Mr. Bukele, again, and I know you won't hear this or care, but it so applies to you, son. More than anyone. He who is for captivity, into captivity he goes. That's you, son, Mr. Bukele. Guess where you're going? Into captivity, son. And it won't be for a lifetime. It won't be for 50 city years. It'll be for all eternity. That's what you've sold your soul for. The brief, fleeting joy of being a cruel, evil dictator who takes anything he wants. All eternity in captivity. That's what you face, son. Laugh it up now. There's more. Mr. Bukele, destined for the lake, isn't done yet. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps, that's in quotes, and torture, that's in quotes, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. Wow, like this wasn't all contrived, because Mr. Abrego's name's been spoken by so many lips. What about all the other men that haven't been spoken of? How they doing? Well, I saw the pictures. They look pretty emaciated and fucked up to me. They don't look like Mr. Garcia. Did you notice that? They don't get to wear clothing like Mr. Garcia does either. So I'm supposed to be impressed that the dictator let him out for a day or an hour to do this photo op because the dictator was worried that everyone thought he was dead. And he might lose his throne for that if enough people get mad about it. He puts the phrase death camps and torture in quotes. I'm sorry, son, just the overcrowding of the cells alone is torture. I don't care what argument you make against it. Try living in a cell again with 70 men. You know, like those Auschwitz pictures in comparison to the CCOT pictures that looked even less spacious. See if that's torture, son. As far as a death camp, well, no one gets to leave. It doesn't seem like Mr. Bukele is going to let Mr. Garcia leave, even though there's no charges in either country against him. So it's awful funny as he's literally being a demon, I guarantee people have died in that prison. They just don't tell you about it. And I guarantee Mr. Bukele isn't going to house, clothe, and feed men for 50 or 60 years. He's not going to do it. He's not that guy. So again, I don't take the death camp joke and the torture joke very seriously from the dictator who has triple the incarceration rate of the rest of the fucking world. For such a small country. And I'm never buying. I don't care if Jesus Christ himself told me that Mr. Bukele is going to house, feed, and clothe all these hundreds of thousands of prisoners that are about to be sent there and his own prisoners for the next 50 or 60 years. I'll never fucking believe that. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still a death camp because you don't leave until you die. And you're tortured via no space to even live, where they set each man balls to butt like this with their head down, half naked, just to humiliate you. Yes, there's torture going on in that place. There's death going on in that place. And just because one guy that the whole world's talking about is in okay shape, I'm not impressed, son. Not at all. You still ain't letting him out. And you've got Mr. Bukele on this end saying, we're never letting him go. You've got the cunt Levitt and others on the other end saying he'll never be a Maryland father. You got Bondi saying we'll never let him stay in America. We'll just pick him right back up and deport him again. In other words, you got the tripling down on evil, even as this man, the whole world's wondering if this man is alive or dead. Again, these people are pure evil. I don't see many of them ever seeking any kind of redemption. I only see them quadrupling down on evil, because if you don't do that, then you have to admit you're evil, don't you? To yourself, to the world. No one ever does that. Rarely ever. And has a true conversion. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't imagine Miss Bondi having a true conversion. Ever. She takes too much joy in cruelty, like Noam, like Donnie, like Leon, and others. So again, Mr. Bukele is mocking this whole situation because he's fucking furious. The dictator never likes to be questioned. And remember, they were all big tough guys saying they were never going to let us see this guy or hear from him or anything. Look at him now. Because he realized in a moment of ponderance, damn, I could lose my throne for this. The people could rise up against me. It might get uglier than I can handle because I'm just a bitch-ass third world dictator of a little El Salvador. You know, where our biggest claim to fame is death camps. That's the only reason this happened. It's probably the only reason this man's alive. And I'm sorry, I saw the satellite photos. And I see the dictator and what he's saying and how much joy he takes in it. I see the incarceration rate. I see the emaciated prisoners. I see them with no room to even move, except for when a senator shows up or a congressman. And again, no, not even Christ himself could convince me that this cunt dictator, who has no respect for human life, would ever run with the agenda of, okay, I'll house these prisoners for the rest of their life, all hundreds of thousands of them. I'll pay that bill. I'll take that responsibility, and I'll take it seriously. Nope. Extermination. That's where it's going. It's probably already been there. So I'm not impressed. I'm glad I was wrong. And I want people to know this. I don't know if you know that about me. I talk a lot of shit for a desired outcome. And I do it with purpose for a reason. And I say what I say for a reason because I want outcomes just like this. So again, I'm glad I'm wrong. I don't have to be right all the time. I don't need to be right all the time. In other words, I said what I said for a purpose, not just because of it's what I thought. I hope that's clear enough. I don't want to be any clearer. So we've got the third world shithole dictator talking shit on a simple meeting between a senator and one of the prisoners of the death camp. He has to gloat and say, well, now you see him. He's never getting out. Fuck you. Miss Bondi and Miss Levitt, cunt one and cunt two. One saying he'll never be a Maryland father. The other one saying, we'll deport him the second he comes back. Drunk ass Tom Homan. Miserable ass, troll ass Tom Homan. We're just going to deport him again. Why are you so furious? Nazis, third world $3 dictators. Why are you so mad about a simple proof of life? Are you that deeply of Satan? That really has you in a state of rage. That doesn't make any sense, son, but evil never does. Evil doesn't have to make sense. It's just evil. I guess that's the only explanation for you people. I don't understand the rage about a senator going down there just to make sure this dude's alive after the government said, yeah, we fucked up, we shouldn't have sent him. And Donnie Shitbags, the Antichrist, and the little Antichrist down in fucking El Salvador are all saying, you're never going to hear from him. No, we're never bringing him back. We're ignoring court rulings. I'll even fly up to your country and laugh in your face personally as an innocent man rots in the death camp. And you have no idea whether he's alive or dead. I won't even tell you if he's alive or dead when I get here. That's the level of demons we are dealing with. I hope your name is not on it, son. Because you will be held accountable. I promise. Like I always say, it's all fun and games till that fire hits your ass. So many of you running around down here like little children having a good time while you're stepping on people's backs to get there as if they're nothing. You will be held accountable for that. So I hope you had a good enough time that it's worth the cost. And the cost is your soul, your eternal existence. The Supreme Court ruled that the Trump admin must provide notice within a reasonable time and in such manner as will allow them to seek habeas relief. The Trump admin may in fact be giving people only a matter of hours to get a lawyer and sue. Did you hear that? Who said that? Who said that was going to happen? Oh yeah, I think it was this crazy guy named Nikki on YouTube. The second the Supreme Court gave their bitch-ass ruling, we're just going to kick this down to Texas, and give them a reasonable amount of time to get a lawyer and make a complaint before you ship him to the death camp. What did I say? I said, well, the authorities in Texas can say, well, we'll give you an hour, we'll give you a day, we'll give you 2 days, we'll give you 8 weeks. So a reasonable amount of time is a worthless vagary. This is the proof of it. Earlier today, a federal district court with jurisdiction over the Bluebonnet ICE detention center denied a class action temporary restraining order because the government promised it would give the plaintiffs sufficient notice. Now they're giving people less than 24 hours. Did you hear that again? Is 24 hours enough for you to get a lawyer in a hearing? No, it's not. And that's the point, isn't it? Urgent, despite the Supreme Court declaring that it would be illegal to deport people under the Alien Enemies Act without giving them a meaningful chance to seek judicial review, the Trump admin is seemingly getting ready to send Venezuelans to El Salvador in a matter of hours. The Supreme Court ruled that the Trump admin must provide notice within a reasonable time in such manner as will allow them to actually seek habeas relief. Well, anyone can decide what reasonable time is. Anyone can decide who the worst of the worst is. That's you. When they get around to labeling ordinary citizens, once they're done with the Palestinian college students and the Japanese college students and the Latin people and the American citizens in prison that aren't even Latin, then it's your turn. Because you're the real goal of all this. They need the ability to be a Reich. What does that mean? That means we can send a bunch of scumbag ex-drug addicts out in a van and grab you off the street and send you to the gulag. Why? Because you criticize the Reich. That's where they want to go with this. Or maybe you happen to be Jewish or Christian. And Donnie don't like that. And Leon don't like that. And their daddy, the devil, really don't like that. That's who he really wants. And don't worry, they're going to get some of us. I guarantee it. And that lawyer just proved what I said weeks ago, whenever that Supreme Court ruling was that, oh, you have to give them a reasonable amount of time. Texas. Okay, we'll give them 5 minutes. Get on the plane. You didn't get your lawyer in 5 minutes. Fuck off. I said that would happen. It's happening. Reverse Robin Hood, and this is where we will end. Take a look. Beautifully rendered. Reverse Robin Hood steals from the poor, gives to himself. Indeed. Calls you parasites if you want your Social Security check. Calls you part of the parasite class if you complain about the dismantling of Social Security or any program you need, welfare, Medicaid, Medicare. Meanwhile, Leon getting contract after contract of your money, handouts, welfare. How much welfare do you get? Welfare for billionaires as they cut programs for you and make you wait, 230 days for your disability Social Security ruling. As Leon gets, 40 billion in one contract. Your money, welfare. So what is Leon? Oh, and never mind his baby mamas, him cutting their child support and all this shit, to the point they have to go on Twitter and track him down and beg for his attention to his own children and his obligations as the richest man in the world. He can definitely afford it. He keeps grifting more of your tax money. So he's literally a modern day reverse Robin Hood. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a lie. It's not an overestimation. He literally is that. But that's not so important in comparison. Again, Abrego Garcia. Thank God he's still alive. Thank God I was wrong. I wanted to be wrong. This is the outcome I wanted so far. I'd really like to see him be brought back to America. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Because of a dictator in a third world country and a dictator here. Mr. Van Hollen is a hero. He risked his personal safety, just like Leo Ryan did back in the day. And it's going to take moves like this. They're going to keep seeing how much they can get away with before the pitchforks come out. And I have a feeling, again, I don't think Mr. Garcia would have been alive if his name wasn't on our lips so much. So many people talking about him, worrying about him, hoping he's still alive. And I see how they really treat the prisoners there, and I don't see them not going the extermination route if they haven't already at some point. Again, these are very evil people. They have no concern for human life. These are numbers and money to them, and that's all they mean. From the look of the prisoners, I don't like what I'm seeing. They don't look like they're fed very well. They're probably working them. They have them in cells that are way too small for that amount of people. And that's just what we see on the surface. Imagine what's really going on behind closed doors at a death camp in El Salvador where no one gets a phone call, no one gets to talk to the outside world. There's only one reason to run a place like that. There's things going on inside you don't want getting out. And I truly wonder what would have happened to this man if we weren't talking about him so much. And the place I see it going in the future is much, much worse. And I don't know, from the comments by the dictator, who's so furious that we even got to see this man still alive. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Everyone knows this guy's innocent. He has no charges in either country. This demon is still keeping him in the death camp. How do you explain that? Your name is on that. Your orange messiah made this happen, and so did you. I suggest you get your name off of it, because it's only going to a more and more evil place. And that's because of you. You know who I'm talking to. Anyway, thank God he's alive. I'm glad I was wrong. I hope I'm wrong about all of it, but I don't think I am. Unfortunately, they keep showing me too much. They keep telling us what they're going to do, and then they do it. So I'm not impressed by this little display today and the margaritas and shit like that. That don't convince me. I'm not stupid. With triple the incarceration rate. I know what it is. It's a business. And that's all this man sees it as. And he don't care if you live or die. In fact, I'd be willing to bet a lot of people have been exterminated. And will be exterminated. Because there ain't no way this demon, again, I'll say it one more time. There's no way this demon is going to feed, clothe, and house people for 60 fucking years or 50 years. No way. It's impossible. With this entity specifically. Anyway, until the next episode, have a wonderful evening.